All right. I think we got 2 out of 3 speakers. We're just waiting on Alex Kim, and then we can jump into it. Hey, Charles, nice to meet you.
Hey, great to meet you.
And we got Mariano from Pitch Lucy and Alex. Hey there.
Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
how you guys doing? Charles, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Cool. Yeah, we could jump in. So this is Jonathan Kobe speaking from the Zeta handle. I'm a core contributor at Zeta Chain and excited to host a chat about how Zeta Chain and Coinbase is making it easier for people to join crypto and navigate Web3 and make the overall UX better. Joined by some great guests today. We have Charles Starr on the business development team at Coinbase, Alex Kim, ecosystem contributor at Zeta Chain, and then Mariano, developer and founder of Pitch Lucy, cross-chain AI agent on Zeta Chain. We can go around and do some quick intros and maybe tell us something that is something exciting that you're working on this week or in general. Charles, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, hey everybody. It's great to be on the spaces. I'm Charles. I work on the business development team at Coinbase, covering all Coinbase developer platform products. So that includes Coinbase Onramp, but I think what's been most exciting this week is the announcement of our CDP wallet API product, which is another offering from Coinbase developer platform.
Awesome. Well done. Mariano, go for it.
Hey, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining. I'm very happy to be speaking to all of you. So my name is Mariano. I'm the founder and leader of Pitch Lucy AI, an adversarial agent game hub that allows you to connect with different AI agents trying to pitch different strategies in order to break them. One of them is called Lucy, that allows you to pitch your own meme coin to her. And if you manage to convince her, she'll actually go ahead and buy your meme coin or whatever token you pitch her. And yeah, very excited to connect with all of you.
Congrats on the launch, Alex Kim.
Hi, everyone. Ecosystem lead here at Zeta Chain. Great to be here.
Thank you. Short and sweet. So yeah, the first we'll have like 2 parts to the discussion here. The first is around onboarding and going from fiat into the crypto world, and then we'll talk about how do you navigate Web3 and all of the chains and apps out there and the cross-chain complexity. So yeah, starting with onboarding, and I'll turn it over to you, Charles. How is Coinbase making onboarding easier? What is the role of Coinbase Onramp in that, and maybe catch us up on that product?
Yeah, definitely. So Coinbase Onramp is all about making it as simple as possible for normies or existing crypto users to purchase various tokens using fiat. So to that end, we're leveraging the infrastructure of the world's most trusted exchange, our existing banking relationships, and we're bringing that to devs so they can, on their own UI, allow their users to quickly fund their accounts. That's all what it's about at the end of the day, getting accounts funded as quickly as possible. So I know across the Zeta Chain ecosystem, we've been integrated on a few different apps, including the Zeta Hub, Pitch Lucy, the Beamdex, Burnt Game, Random Meme, etc. And we're really excited about that. And yeah, more broadly, any dev that integrates Coinbase Onramp's widget allows their users to access over 270 tokens that are supported on Coinbase Exchange across 50 different networks. So it's a big UX unlock. And I just want to zero in really on the 2 checkout flows, which is so critical to how the onboarding is improved with Coinbase Onramp. So in the US, you actually don't need a Coinbase account to purchase crypto through Coinbase Onramp. You just need a complete SMS verification. And for up to $500 a week, you can use Apple Pay, you can use a debit card, and you can purchase any supported asset on Coinbase Exchange. So it makes it super easy for a dev that has an app catering to normies, someone who may not even have a cryptocurrency exchange account in the first place or purchased crypto in the past. So makes that process less than 20 seconds, whereas in the past they would have to go to an exchange, go through ID verification, etc., and it just becomes pretty lengthy, and that can be a blocker as far as onboarding new users. So guest checkout flow is something we're really excited about. And then on the other hand, we have the ability to check out through Coinbase Onramp using a Coinbase Exchange account. So this basically lets devs provide 3-click access to over 100 million existing Coinbase Exchange accounts and wallets, whereas they're able to access either existing crypto balances, saved payment methods, etc., to fund their account on an app using Coinbase Onramp. So from the dev's POV, you allow normies to quickly buy over 270 tokens. And on the other hand, you also get the easy UX enhancement of unlocking CB account balances for quick access for those who are using your app and may have purchased crypto before. So overall, just making it really easy rather, for devs to have their users fund their accounts initially.
Nice. I didn't know about the SMS onboarding too. That's cool. And I think you touched on this a little bit, like one of the differentiators is obviously the global trust and reach of Coinbase. Curious, like any other competitive advantages you would call out in the product when you think about, like there are a lot of on-ramp solutions out there, people trying to tackle this problem. Anything else you would call out that differentiates on-ramp?
Yeah, definitely. So maybe kind of double clicking on the infrastructure of the exchange, we definitely have the trust factor there. And in addition to just having over 270 assets supported, we have really extensive multi-chain support, which you won't find on a lot of other on-ramps. So for example, USDC, we have support on 14 different chains, which compared to other on-ramps is far more extensive. As I mentioned, I think there's over 50 native blockchain tokens, so that includes Zeta, Sol, AVAX, Bera, DOT, Doge, Bitcoin, obviously. So plenty on that front. And then as far as the EVMs go, we have ETH on Ethereum, Arbitrum, Base, Optimism, Unichain. So multi-chain is something worth calling out and a differentiator globally. And then finally, since Coinbase Onramp is available to anybody with a Coinbase account, we have bank transfer purchases in key markets abroad. So outside the US, you can use bank transfers to purchase crypto with CB Onramp in Brazil, Australia, most of the EU, the UK. And we've also announced, believe a couple weeks ago for both these countries, we're going to be re-entering India, and we're going to be entering Argentina as well, which will then extend the reach of where Coinbase Onramp is available for bank transfer purchases. So as Coinbase Exchange grows globally, Coinbase Onramp does too, and that's something that will continue to give us an edge globally.
Very nice. Cool. And speaking of Argentina, big crypto hub down there. That's where you are, Mariano.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe catch us up quickly. Like, what is the crypto ecosystem like in Argentina? And then give us the TLDR on Pitch Lucy and your experience integrating Coinbase Onramp. A lot
100%.
there.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, once again, thanks everyone for being here. The entire Pitch Lucy team is almost everyone from Argentina. And there is a big hub of innovation happening here lately. This could be many reasons why, but primarily Argentina has been for a long time a very high inflation country in the world. So the concept of stable coins and cryptocurrencies was heavily used from the beginning. And due to like enormous regulations to accessing the capital markets of the world and the trading markets, Like I believe that DeFi kind of like found a great market fit in the country, and a lot of people actually used DeFi tools that are of course like wrappers of like Aave protocols, but they are familiarized already with like the concept of staking, the concept of like generating yield, and that's something really good. But moving along, more of like what Pitch Lucy is, and also what our parent company is building. Uh, Pitch Lucy, as I was saying, it's an adversarial agent game hub. So if you have seen Freysa, you have played these adversarial agent games. So it's an AI that has a prompt, and your objective is to basically break the prompt or overcome it in some way. And we started working on this idea like a few months ago about, hey, how can we bring Shark Tank into Web3? Because everyone wants to play Shark Tank. And what we have created, it's a platform that right now allows you to pitch an AI agent your token and convince her to actually invest in it. And if you manage to convince her, she'll actually do it. She'll go ahead and do it. So very exciting. And over 200,000 users have played ever since we deployed this. And I want to touch down a little bit on like how important it is to make access easy to our users. And this is what I correlate with you, Charles, as well. So you have on Web3, you have two problems, right? One is having everyone have a wallet, and then is loading that wallet with the first like few tokens to pay for the gas. This is especially difficult if you are deploying games that are like on different chains, because now potentially users will have to have gas on all these different chains, and this is like it adds friction basically. So for the first problem, we took a tackle into doing some of the smart wallet solutions out there that allow you to create a wallet with your email account, for example. And then for the second problem, that's where we struck gold with what Coinbase is doing. So Coinbase integration is really, really, really straightforward. Like it's 15 minutes. That's about it. And I think that that has a lot of value to it and allows anyone that plays Pitch Lucy to connect and claim funds and buy tokens to play the game with their credit card or debit card. And this reduces the friction a lot. So this has been like really a really powerful move adding this feature. We have had a few hundred users that I think have used it in some capacity, even if it was just like low amount of funds, but still use it. And this will like help onboard more people to Web3, undoubtedly. And not only in Pitch Lucy, this is something that we have integrated, but also in some other dApps, part of our parent company, UNDR, this has been integrated as well. And they really bring a lot of value to our users, especially reducing this friction.
Thanks, Mariano. Yeah, 15 minutes sounds pretty easy. And I know in the documentation it says just a few lines of code. So awesome that you've had success. And yeah, thinking about gamers, like there's a huge avid population around the world, a lot of whom have never used crypto. So that makes Web3 a lot more accessible. Alex, let's hear your 2 cents here. You're working with a lot of app partners building on Zeta Chain. You've seen a wave of Coinbase Onramp integrations. What do you think about these developments and what this unlocks for devs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think to answer the first part, how we're using OnRamp today, I mean, we have Zeta Hub, and it's pretty much our one-stop platform where users can do on-chain actions from sending assets from one chain to another and even to Zeta Chain as well. And they're able to be part of the Zeta Chain quote-unquote Quest platforms through incentivized XP programs that we have that users can accumulate different points for, or in some cases, they can earn instant portions of Zeta for completing an on-chain task. It's also just a great loyalty hub as well, where you can also just explore the ecosystem, different apps, and different offerings as well. How we're using OnRamp is for user experience, where a user can just onboard and just get their asset on Zeta Chain through Coinbase Onramp here today. The on-ramping experience in Web3 in general pretty sucks if you're not using an on-ramp. You have to have a centralized exchange account, then you have to send it to a wallet, and then you have to connect that wallet. And then you have to rely on that retail user or user to just send that asset from a centralized exchange to a to an on-chain environment, which does create some complexity. So I think an on-ramp partner does provide a more better UI UX for that. For devs in the ecosystem, I think it's pretty much the same example. Even with our DEX right now, like Beam, you can use Coinbase on-ramp to get the Zeta or other assets directly, and then you can swap it to other chains if you want it as well, without having to open a wallet and manually send it over as well.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, simple solution, but really high impact. So yeah, thinking about like our collaborations with Coinbase, we've done a bunch of stuff. Most recently, we were in the Learning Rewards program, Zeta Chain education, like quizzes, and then on-chain stuff with Zeta Hub, actually. So we're excited about driving adoption around Onramp. Charles, you mentioned that Onramp now supports Zeta, the native coin of Zeta Chain. Curious what you would say makes Zeta Chain an exciting integration partner for Onramp and Coinbase generally.
Yeah, definitely. So first off, as you mentioned, we have support for the Zeta token directly, and that's actually both on the Ethereum L1 as well as the Zeta Chain network, whereas we're supporting the token natively. Zeta was actually a day one listing on Coinbase Exchange as well, and the launch was back when I worked on the listings team. So I remember working closely with the Zeta Chain team on that, which is great. And I think even outside us having broad support for the Zeta token, the Zeta Chain ecosystem is particularly compelling from our point of view as far as an opportunity for Coinbase on-ramp, because we have such broad asset support across the networks that Zeta Chain connects. So from Base to Bitcoin to Arbitrum to Solana to Polygon to Ethereum and Avalanche, we have stables on those networks. We have utility tokens on those networks. We have the native gas tokens of those networks supported. And the ability to purchase tokens on these networks with fiat on universal apps, like let's say Beam, drastically improves the UX. So I'm able to easily, let's say, buy ETH on Arbitrum and use a universal app to then swap that for native Bitcoin. So I'd say all in all, we have support for the Zeta token. We also have broad network support among the networks that Zeta Chain connects, and that's why the integration is so compelling from our point of view.
Cool. Thanks, Charles. Yeah, day one listing, and Coinbase was actually the first exchange to support Zeta. I remember in San Francisco in the boardroom watching that go live. So yeah, you were just touching on multi-chain connectivity, and I want to get more into like now you're onboarded into crypto. How do you navigate all of these blockchains? You mentioned Arbitrum, Solana, Bitcoin, of course, the first blockchain, and all of these growing dApp ecosystems on these chains. So, Alex, let me loop you in here. Like, maybe you could break down the multi-chain madness and some of the key challenges that have arisen for users and developers with all of these new chains. And then, what's the 101 on Zeta Chain and how it simplifies that?
Sure. So simply put, from a developer perspective, you have to launch multiple smart contracts for multi-chain deployments. If you're a DeFi project in particular, for any single multi-chain deployment, you have to source liquidity for each of those multi-chain deployments. It can take a lot of time and it can get very expensive. A really good example of this are perp dexes. Perp dexes are truly native to just one chain, but as soon as they start to do multi-chain deployments, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Sure, you have the user base from another chain, but for DeFi specific projects, users want to go over to the chain that has the most liquidity. So what always happens at the end of the day is it doesn't matter what multi-chain deployments are or what the multi-chain deployments do for the projects. At the end of the day, the users will go towards the chain that has the most liquidity. And it's just a bunch of wasted time and efforts from the developers on their part to pursue the strategy. The value add for Zeta Chain is for all of our apps, Beam and some others, as well as in particular, you only have to launch your app on Zeta Chain once. So it's a single state application, meaning that you can only deploy your app once on Zeta Chain. Everything lives on Zeta Chain, but a user from Solana, EVM, and even native Bitcoin, they can connect their wallets and use that app as is, as if they were just interacting with one singular app. And all the developer has to do is just source one liquidity pool or one source of liquidity only on Zeta Chain for those users as well.
Thanks. And maybe talk about Bitcoin specifically. Zeta Chain supports native Bitcoin. Users from Bitcoin can call these apps like Beam on Zeta Chain. Why is that like a big deal? How is it even possible? Because historically, you're a developer, you can't program Bitcoin, you can't deploy an app on it. So how does that work?
Yeah, so what Zeta Chain does is we're essentially allowing users to deposit and just connect their native Bitcoin wallets and use Bitcoin asset. I'll go more into this in a bit, but just for background, we've seen in the past like this resurgence in Bitcoin Fi, but a lot of the narratives and a lot of the projects that we're building towards this Bitcoin Fi narrative was actually just EVM layer twos or side chains that were disguised as Bitcoin Fi projects, where the user was just locking up their native Bitcoin and they were minting out some sort of EVM version to use it on the EVM chain. To me, this brings no value. It's just a lock-in mint function like any other chain, and the user experience is a very convoluted two-step process. So you're not actually doing anything with native Bitcoin. Um, so what Zeta Chain did is, I mean, what we've always done is we use something called MPC TSS where we enable a one-click experience instead of that two-step process. So now when a user connects their Bitcoin wallet, they can deposit their native Bitcoin on the custody address, and the entire protocol will handle all the smart contract actions and pretty much use that native Bitcoin that's been locked in that custody address in the EVM side. So what that looks like in practice is with Beam, you can connect your Bitcoin wallet, you can connect your Solana wallet right now, and you can just choose native Bitcoin from Bitcoin mainnet, and you can choose Solana. And as soon as you just click swap, that's the only thing the user has to do to swap from native Bitcoin to even Solana in this example. We also have BitSmiley, who enabled a one-click CDP stablecoin minting using native Bitcoin, which is unheard of to this day, I believe, where a user can just deposit their native Bitcoin into a vault. Let's say that's 50% LTV, and then they can mint out BitUSD on Zeta Chain in a one-click UI UX. And there's no switching networks. There's no locking Bitcoin first, minting it, and then going somewhere else to collateralize that EVM version and doing something else with it. Everything is as simple as a one-click UI UX, which differentiates us from most of the other Bitcoin Fi focused projects out there.
Cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, and I think BitSmiley is launching soon, so we'll look out for that. All very timely with Bitcoin Vegas happening this week. Charles, your take on all of this? Like, there's an explosion of new chains and interoperability layers, bridging solutions. What do you think about it and Zeta Chain's approach versus other stuff out there?
Yeah, definitely. So maybe taking a step back, first, we obviously had Bitcoin, and then Ethereum came along and introduced smart contracts, which was a really defining moment for on chain apps. And as the user base scaled, the UX really declined due to high costs. And then there was the various L2s, EVM L1s, non EVM L1s that launched to try and improve UX and performance. And while some really succeeded, some failed, I think these advancements ensured on chain apps were at a point ready for mass adoption and mass onboarding events, such as, let's say, the Trump launch on Solana back in January. The amount of users that came on chain and the fact that the network stayed up and didn't crash, and transaction costs stayed relatively reasonable is a testament to the advances that we've made as far as development of these highly performant chains over the last couple of years, and frankly, healthy competition between these chains probably push devs to the point to make chains that are that performant. So all in all, I think the launch of these L2s and these L1s post the launch of the Ethereum L1 is a great thing, since it's created an environment where apps can launch and onboard masses of normies, because that's the ultimate goal here. But there is a cost, right? And I've seen it come in the form of liquidity fragmentation. I think multi-chain stablecoins are particularly very complex for normies, and they make it really confusing. Whereas like a stablecoin can exist on multiple chains, and sometimes like there are two versions of the same stablecoin on one chain, right? Like USDC.E on Arbitrum, which is the bridged version, and then also like USDC on Arbitrum, which is the natively minted version. So all in all, like this liquidity fragmentation, multi-chain token world has created a UX that's way too complex for normies, and that's where cross-chain protocols kind of come in and save the day. That's why they're so important, because through the infrastructure that Zeta Chain has created, you can create a really seamless experience, and you can have an app that's chain agnostic, in a sense that users don't really have to concern themselves with making sure that they have the specific token on the specific network in their wallet. You can create an experience where there can be USDC in the wallet. Users can send it to that wallet, and they can swap and perform all these on-chain actions. And in the background, they're interacting with multiple chains, but the experience that they're having feels like a Web2 app where they don't have to concern themselves with multiple blockchains.
Yeah, a bunch of what you said really resonates there. And Alex, I'm curious if you want to chime in on the unified stable coin that Charles was talking about. I know there's some work being done there. Well, fill us in on that, and maybe how it's different from some of the cross-chain messaging solutions out there that have their version of unified stable, although it's more fragmented than people think.
Yeah, I think simply put, Zeta Chain still has a lot of bridge versions of different stablecoins right now. And we're introducing something called a unified stablecoin, which is in the works right now, where we're able to combine all the incoming deposits or incoming. When a user sends USDC or USDT from other chains, it immediately just mints out something called ZUSD. So a user can deposit any USDC, any USDT, or stables from any chain, and because it's one-to-one, it'll just mint out ZUSD, which is going to be used in the ecosystem. So instead of having these different facets of like different versions of USDC or USDT on Zeta Chain, it's just going to mint out ZUSD. In terms of other cross-chain messaging solutions, to be honest, I think a lot of them, or I think there are some that work. I think at the end of the day, it is a numbers game. Um, yeah, I can't compare too much against what other messaging protocols are doing right now.
Cool, thank you. Mariano, you are building Pitch Lucy. You deployed it as a universal app, a single contract on Zeta with built-in connectivity to these other chains. Why build on Zeta Chain? And maybe like give us a real life experience. Like I could be on Base, for example, and still interact with the Lucy agent. Catch us up on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really good question, right? Like, why set a chain? There's so many other chains out there. Like, why do we use set a chain? And the answer to the question is exactly that. There are so many other chains out there that we need to find a way to be where the users are. And I believe that due to many circumstances, and I think you touched down on this a little bit, Charles, like liquidity got very fragmented, and it's just a mess of chains everywhere now. There's just many chains, and they have their own like secluded group of users there that they might be into one specific trend. For example, Solana users we associate them with meme coins. We don't associate them with infrastructure projects in Solana, right? The same way that it's different in Base, etc., etc. So we are presented as dApp developers and as entrepreneurs with this interesting problem. Like everyone is everywhere, and we need to find a way to get these people to our applications. And for that, like Chain was a no-brainer for us. It's like this is the one chain that allows us to be on multiple other chains without doing the effort of what that means, basically. So on the specific use case of Lucy, we thought about, hey, there are multiple tokens in every chain, right? And we want to bring everyone to be able to participate. Therefore, you can pitch Lucy, our AI agent, tokens from different chains. Any token, really. It doesn't have to be just meme coins. It could be infrastructure, it could be a token that you deployed, could be like many different ideas. And if you manage to convince her, she'll actually do a cross-chain transaction from Zeta chain to that chain and buy the token. And this is all powered by Zeta chain that enabled us to do this like quite effortlessly, to be honest, and like on a much easier way than if we wanted to do if we wanted to build like our own solution to do this. And I think that this is just one of the use cases of cross-chain technology, but like really, I think DeFi opportunities will be open to this in an unbelievable way. Like having the capacity to access the liquidity and access protocols that are on other chains from one chain is, I think it's a quite killer feature, to be honest, and one that I'm quite excited about. And we are on the Pitch Lucy team. We're experimenting with some things as well, adding extra cross-chain functionalities, maybe like depositing tokens for Lucy to be trading with, and other things as well that we're quite excited. And like to give like a very quick user journey is right now you can log into our webpage pitchlucy.ai. You can select any token from any of our supported chains that are all powered by Zeta chain and pitch the token. And what you can even do is we have some fees for our platform. The fees of our platform can be paid from any chain as well. So you can pay from Binance Smart Chain, for example, or for Base, and those tokens they'll flow right back to Lucy Treasury Fund, doing another cross-chain transaction. So you don't have to worry about having funds in Zeta chain or having funds in a one specific chain. Like, don't worry about it. Like, just enjoy the game, enjoy the dApps that people make, and like let us the same way that there's been advances in abstracting away the complexity of wallets. Let's abstract away the complexity of multiple chains.
Yep, that's a good way to put it. And you mentioned that feature is really powerful, and it could be applied to like any sort of creative use case. I know you mentioned parent company, like your group is experimenting with other projects. Maybe you could talk about random dot bag or meme where from Zeta chain or from Base, any connected chain, you can buy diverse meme coins, RWA assets, some other basket of tokens on different diverse chains.
100%. So UNDR is the parent company of Pitch Lucy. It's basically a group of developers building applications. And I know from firsthand some of the products that they're developing, like Dust.fun, like leverage Zeta chain on an incredible way. It allows you to basically take tokens that are very low value tokens, like just a couple of dollars, for example, from multiple chains. These are the remaining assets that are like quite bothersome and you want to get rid of them, right? And swap all of those tokens to another token in another chain. So let's imagine, like you went, I don't know, on Binance Smart Chain to do a campaign for like an airdrop or something, and you now have 10 tokens worth like less than $2 each, right? You could go ahead and swap all of them manually, but who has time for that, right? So what the guys at Dust.fun did is they created this protocol that allows you to swap all those tokens in one transaction and exit in a way Binance Smart Chain to another token basically in another chain. And what before was like quite a terrible experience, because you needed to like swap, like you need to first go into Binance Smart Chain, then find the tokens and send them to PancakeSwap one by one. That's not fun. Enables to do that, and it saves you the time of having to send to another chain with like a bridge. The bridges that they always break and they take a long time in only one transaction. So this is one of the projects that has an example of integration of Zero Chain.
Yeah, you can convert them all in one click to a stable in any wallet on your preferred chain, or you can convert it into actual native Bitcoin in your Unisat or whatever Bitcoin wallet on Bitcoin
So
Network. Yeah.
you're a Bitcoin maximalist, and I think this will be a big feature in the future of Zeta Chain. To be honest, from an outside perspective, I have seen like Bitcoin maximalists like continue to resist DeFi and continue to resist like a lot of the elements of other chains, and I think this is actually quite a good point for them, because it's like you can now use something like Zeta Chain to exit positions on other like meme coins and tokens and go to Bitcoin natively and directly. And I think they'll make it happy. They will be very happy for that.
Yep. So yeah, we have maybe 7 or 8 minutes here. Want to ask some forward-looking, broader questions. First one for you, Charles. It could be about Coinbase Onramp specifically, or Zeta Chain universal apps. Like, what's one use case that Coinbase Onramp or Zeta enables that you're very excited about, or a particular trend?
Yeah, definitely. I'll touch on two. Um, as someone who has a background, even before Coinbase, working for Web2 retail trading apps, I've always been really excited about the potential for on-chain RWA trading. So I know today the dominant trading patterns, at least on chain, right, involve really meme coins for these apps that are normally friendly, like Moonshot. But I think we're going to get to the point once there is more tokenization of real world assets where on chain FX is really going to take off, and on chain commodity trading. And I think that has really high potential for mass adoption. And I know, especially as we get more clarity from regulators over the next couple of months and years, at least in the United States, it'll take off just because there'll be more compliant ways to tokenize assets. And I think that'll ultimately increase liquidity. Institutions will probably start providing liquidity, and the experience of trading FX on chain will probably end up being superior to what's offered today off chain. And aside from FX, I'm sure there'll be all sorts of interesting RWA strategies that you probably couldn't access through the Web2 or TradFi tools that exist today. So that's something I'm really excited about. Obviously, on-ramping is something that's going to be a requirement to get everybody funded and to get their accounts set up. So I think stable coins will probably be the default funding method there. It probably won't be ETH or a native gas token, most likely just like USDC on whatever network. And that's kind of where Zeta Chain and Universal Apps come into play as well, right? Because there may be liquidity for certain RWAs on, let's say, Solana, because certain institutions are using Solana, and maybe there's more liquidity for other RWAs on EVMs. And what I really love about Zeta Chain is the fact that chains are being connected they're quite different, right? And I think in contrast to certain solutions, interop solutions that you're seeing, let's say like Optimism work on, where the OP stack is going to unite all OP stack chains under the superchain, which is great, but there's still not a clear path to interop from those chains to, let's say, Bitcoin or even like Arbitrum L2s or Solana. So I think that's where Zeta Chain is going to become particularly useful, really uniting the experience for on-chain RWA trading across protocols that otherwise wouldn't be interoperable.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, I've been working on Zeta for like close to 4 years since the inception. And the cool thing is being friendly to all of these chains. The engineering team is actually looking at an OP stack integration or just going directly to the L2s. But it's cool because we're trying to make apps composable everywhere and driving transaction volume on base, new users to base, the other way around. So all the boats rise. Like that's the real ethos of Web3. And then RWA, I don't know much about, but I saw like some project is tokenizing wine and making it tradable, and like wineries could get a new rev stream of trading fees, and it seems like there's a whole world of opportunity for different alternative assets. Mariano, what do you think? What's exciting trend wise? Is it AI agents or gaming or something else?
Well, of course, it's AI, right? An AI agent. But yeah, there's. I'm just excited for all the innovation that is happening in the space. There's definitely something with RWA, although I feel that regulation needs to advance more before that becomes like more mainstream. I'm very interested as well into everything that is like internet capital markets and what they be doing. And overall, yeah, everything looks pretty exciting.
Nice. Alex, you mentioned a few kind of first in kind use cases, native Bitcoin backed stable, universal yield aggregator, I think is super cool. What are you seeing? What are you most excited about?
Personally, I'm most excited about stablecoins right now. I think Bitcoin and such is definitely an added bonus, but I still think there's like a huge learning curve for most of Bitcoin retail users and most of Bitcoin users in general. I think the solutions for Bitcoin have always just been some EVM lock-in min function, and some convoluted 2-3 step process. So I think they're a little bit deterred right now. I also think like Bitcoin holders have a holding mentality. So I definitely think I'm more interested in stablecoins right now. I just think there is a lot of adoption through stablecoins from an institutional play. I think one thing that really stands out is TradFi. There's not a lot of opportunities to incentivize different there's really no opportunities to incentivize rewards, but now with on-chain activity and with the way that regulation is going, I definitely think that institutions want to come on-chain just because there is opportunity to incentivize and get more users through that way. So now we're seeing the rise of institutional stablecoins coming in like PayPal and such, which I think has always been interesting. There are major lending platforms, money markets, dexes, etc., and they're always incentivizing it left and right. So I'm definitely interested to see where stablecoins go, and what solutions come out of it. As we see more institutional adoption of stablecoins and use cases for it, I'm curious to see who that person or team in Web3 kind of builds to create that new product that's more institutionally focused.
Nice. Um, as we wrap up here, I'll give a chance for you guys to share anything coming up that is exciting and publicly available information, of course, or certain initiatives you'd point users or devs to. Um,
Yeah.
Any of you guys could jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just finalized our token sale. We're very excited for that, and very excited for the community as well. And the next feature that we're working on is integrating our token to the payment method for the round system for our games, not only for Lucy, but also for any other upcoming and future games that we're also working on, that will have like very attractive prices if you want to convince an AI agent. You will have to use the ecosystem token to do that. So very excited to bring utility on that side.
Great. Anything else? I will plug Zeta Chain Summer. That just went live yesterday. Learn and Earn program on Galaxy, featuring Pitch Lucy as the first project, actually. And we're thinking about doing a Coinbase on-ramp task specifically, so you could try that out. If you're a developer, apply to the grant program, and you could be eligible to join the summer cohort. And we're doing a bunch of events, Argentina, India, a bunch of other countries in real life as well, and New York City coming up in July, where if you want to meet me and some other contributors. With that, gentlemen, thanks for taking the time, and good luck with everything. Talk soon.
Thank you.
You, Alex, Charles, and everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned with Pitch Lucy. Exciting things coming ahead for the community. We just got started, and thank you everyone for your support.
Yes, sir. Cheers. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.